Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back to character, and I'm going to right click, and we're going to make a blueprint, and it's going to be a character class. Okay, let's call this SB underscore char BP, not VP, BP. Okay, so that's our Simplebot character blueprint. So we'll double click on that, and this takes us to the character blueprint editor. We start out in the viewport. There's event graph and construction script. We'll start here. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll click on the mesh, and now here we can choose a skeletal mesh, and that'll be Simplebot. Okay, and also we're going to want to align the character so he's moving forward in the direction that the capsule has. So we're going to have to go into the rotate, and let's grab that, rotate him around 90 degrees. Okay, and we're also going to lower him so that he's at the bottom of the capsule. So it's going to move. Lower him down. We're also going to have to come into the capsule, and we're going to have to change the half height. So I'm just clicking and dragging there. What I want to do is just line the bottom of the capsule up with the feet. And I think that ought to work. I probably want to change this height so it fits his entire body, but then I have to go back and kind of readjust the character's height. So it's just, you know, a little bit of tweaking, and you'll know how well this is working when he's on the floor, whether or not he's lining up with the floor or not. Okay, so we got him settled in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a spring arm. Okay, so under Add Component, let's search for spring. And so here's the spring arm. And I had capsule selected when I did that. So this is like a camera boom that is attached to the capsule component. We could rename it camera boom. I'll just keep it spring arm. And with that selected, I'm going to add another component, and let's just type CAM for camera, and let's just take this first camera, not the cinema camera, first one. And so the camera is now a child of the spring arm. So what's going to happen is when we're moving the character around, the camera's going to follow it. So we'll have the third person set up. Now he's not moving yet, so let's see. Let's find out where we need to add anything to do with the motion. I think that's going to be under mesh. Yeah. Okay, so use animation blueprint. So got that clicked, and animation class. So SimpleBot animation blueprint. Select that. And so now he's moving. Okay, so gotta plug that in or he's not going to work. So let's compile and save. Now if we come back in under character movement, here's some general settings, acceleration, mass, max step height, max walk speed. So we'll go back in and adjust some of the stuff later once we see how he's working, once we go ahead and play the game. Okay, so again, compile, save, and so now we're going to go to the event graph. And with the event graph, I've got some images up on the... So if we go back to home, and if we go to Unreal, so not only do I have videos, which I'm going to be replacing here, again the third person series, here's some documentation on transition rules. This is a video on making the blend run over time that we'll do that in class. So again, screenshots, so animation blueprint, character blueprint. So here is the screenshot of the character blueprint. So to do that, I'm just going to look at an example and wire it up. So I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so we're going to go into the event graph. Here I'm looking at the example for the third person template. So I've got gamepad input. I'm only locking or wiring it up to mouse input. And we've got our movement. So I'm not going to need this. I'm not going to need the VR stuff. I'm not going to need the touch input that would be for touch screens. But if you did want to hook up a gamepad, you'd need that. So this is the stuff I'm going to need, and so I'm going to use that as my guide to set the blueprint up. Okay, so I'm going to start out with a input axis, and these are the input axes that I created. So let's start with turn. Okay, and so for input axis turn, then I'm going to come over here and add yaw controller input. The yaw, like if you were in an airplane, it'd be your pedals, which turn the rudder on the plane. It makes you turn like in the y-axis. Okay, so again, this is the input axis turn that we set up with the mouse. Okay, then another one, input axis. And here we've got lookup. Okay, and here we're going to get a pitch. Just like in an airplane. Add controller pitch input. And in an airplane, you pull back and push forward on the stick, and then you're rotating in the x-axis. Okay, we're also going to put in our jump, so that's going to be input action. There we go. So it's input action event. Jump. So when the space bar is pressed, we're here to jump and target as a character, and if it's released, over here and jump. So we're going to press stop jumping. Okay, I'm going to grab these and just move them out of the way. Now another input axis, input. So we want our move forward. Put in add movement input. And let's also do another input axis, and that's going to be the move right. We need another one of these. We can hit Control W and that'll duplicate it. Pardon me. We're going to get a control rotation. And what we need to do is, for the rotation, we need to separate it into individual components. So let's click out here, and we're going to need a brake rotator. And then from the Z, we're going to click here, and we're going to need a make rotator. And then it's going to come from this, and let's click that. Or Alt click to get rid of that one. Take these, move them over. And I'm going to need get a forward vector. And I'm going to need get a right vector. Okay, and then the axis value is going to be the scale value, and the same thing here. Okay, so I think I've got everything I need in my character blueprint. I can comment these, type C, movement, C, this will be mouse input, and this one will be C jump. Okay, so let's compile and save that.